Welcome to the Armchair Sports Guys. We are back for another episode talking about Colin Kaepernick's possible return to the NFL, but also talking about Roger Goodell's new stance-ish
Ooh,
on
nice
racism,
ironic.
on
Ooh, did you
racism
just say
and everything.
stance?
Yeah, I don't know if anything's changed. I don't know if anything's really going to change in the NFL.
Pressure.
But Goodell did come out and have a statement this week. So we're going to cover it. Again, I'm joined here by Rich Mays, Matt O'Brien, Mike LaChance. Sean is unfortunately not joining us again this week, but he should be back for the next episode coming up later on this week, I hope. But anyway, boys, welcome back. And what was your initial thoughts of what Goodell said in his statement? And I'm going to read the statement real quick for you. The statement is as follows. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systemic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to the NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. So, I'll start this off with, I'm going to go to Matt because he's already with cap up on his screen on the behind him. So, Matt, your first initial gut reaction upon hearing Goodell say that?
He had to say something. Yeah, he came right out. I thought he was very straightforward and apologizing and not being more understanding. The other thing that I will have an issue with it is because he's a pretty smart guy. You don't get to that level. We've talked about this before. You don't get to his level and not know making the right choice on this. I mean, when Colin Kaepernick first, when he sat on the bench, and it was because African Americans were oppressed in this country, and then people booed, and then people started to kneeling. Then he was actually told by a former NFL player to kneel, and he did that. And now it's like between that season went, he didn't come back to the NFL, and people weren't doing anything for it. But now it takes one person to basically, we all know what happened with George Floyd, and now people are bringing this topic back in. So now Goodell's going to say, oh, now I understand. Now I get it. Come on, Roger. You're a smart guy. You should have got it before. You just basically went back on everything that you just did, And I get the issue. I get it. You think Kaepernick wasn't a little afraid going into this? And now we're going to bring him back after 4 years. We're going to bring him back. Does he still – he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. I mean, there's other images that I can bring up, and he looks like he can play. But I have always said, hey, this is a business. If you can come back to the NFL and you're good enough to play, let him play. Let him play. There's other issues in the NFL where guys are doing drugs and they're allowed to come back. Lack of a better argument there. Ray Rice, not allowed to come back. I agree with that one. I don't want him on my team.
Well, Daniel Tomlinson was able to come back, though. I mean, not only Daniel Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson was able to come back.
Right.
Smack this kid with a stick.
Yeah, but
we've all been there, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
30 years ago, that was discipline.
Right.
And that's how he was raised. Right. That's how he was raised.
Just
right.
in closing,
I'm not saying that I agree with it or that it wasn't a big deal. I'm just saying that on the list of, kill people, protest, smack your kid with a tree branch, it's, the Ray Rice thing, he shouldn't be allowed back.
I agree.
I agree. From the Giants, there's a laundry list of these dudes. Greg Hardy, they should never put on cleats again.
Yeah.
I agree. So just my wrapped up with about Goodell, I think he should have got it right the first time. He had plenty of other people whispering in his ears, this isn't a good image for the NFL. You need to start cleaning this up. By the way, you have Colin Kaepernick on also that laundry list that Rich just referred to. You just added one of the biggest things. And now you're going back on your word. Now, what if Kaepernick plays. After this, the icing on the cake, the straw that broke the camel's back was George Floyd. This guy should have been in the league. He should have never left the league. He shouldn't have got whatever exiled.
Was his contract up? Was that why he was done? He wasn't kicked out. His contract was up.
No, he wasn't kicked out. I think his contract was done, and
So,
he was a free agent.
Yeah, they cut him or whatever.
And no, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. Sorry, go ahead.
No. That was it for me. Goodell, you look so stupid. You went back. You totally should have got this right.
Backtrack.
You went
He
back.
backtracked. Yeah, he backtracked. Yeah. And like I said, his contract was up. All this happened, and what happened with him, and I guess this is more of just listening the past few weeks. People say, "Oh, he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting veterans," and when Kaepernick first did, and I'm not defending him because I think there's a time and place. I think their celebrity status is up here. They can use their they can use their millions of platforms around the world to do and say what they want. I think that 2.5 minutes of time to do that, I know it's a grand stage. The media went from what the flag and that whole 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes represented to now we're doing this. And I think that in itself is wrong. Not saying I disagree with them doing it. It didn't affect me. We all still watch the Pats on Sundays. We all still watch the games. It didn't affect. No one's offended by it. No one's going to fucking sleep going, oh, I really don't like that. No, you're fine. Shut up. You're fine. Move on. Shut up. But he sucked. Kaepernick didn't do shit. Like Michael Vick syndrome. You came back. You had your dog thing with the jail. You came back and played. You didn't do it. No one wanted you because you weren't good. Kaepernick, if he comes back and he does play, it's because of this. Like Matty, like you said, it's because of what happened. It's not because he's good.
Yep.
And no team, I mean, a team that take him on now is going to take him on because of what's going on. Not because he's good, not because he's earned his spot. It's because of what's going on. If a team takes him on, and like I said in the group chat earlier, and he doesn't perform well, they say, okay, we're going to put him in a couple games. Let's see what he's got. He performs Tom Brady-esque his first couple games. Holy shit, this guy still got it. Let him play. He's doing fine. He's going to kneel, do the injustice thing, fine. But if he goes 3 or 4 or 5 games and he fades off and he's disgusting and they bench him, well, it's because he's black. Now we're right back to square one. And that's the media is going to take this and they're going to blow it up. On another side note, with Kaepernick, for what I didn't know and I found out this past couple of weeks, before when he was kneeling, he went to a veteran's home or talked to a veterans agencies, a bunch of guys who were frontline veterans. And he said, how do I do this right? How do I do this so I'm not basically pissing you guys off? Mm. And he took what the veteran, he used to do it in front. The veteran said, you want to kneel? Kneel in back, near the bench. Sit in the bench. So they were giving him advice how to do it. Whether we see it, we were perceived to see it negativity because that's how the media told us to do it. That's how we look at him going, he hates the flag. He hates this. I don't think he does. I think he's doing it for a reason. There's a reason behind it. I think the timing is wrong. I don't agree with the timing of when he's doing it, but and who's that? Who's the Steelers player? Villanueva, is that his name? The guy who was a veteran,
former football player.
Yep.
I mean, former soldier.
Yeah. So when the teams were deciding to
he didn't like it.
Stay in the locker room, you know what? So we can't have both ways. Either he's gonna come out and kneel, lock arms, hold hands, raise your fist, pull your pants down, do a dance, or stay in the locker room. It's gonna piss everybody off. This guy came out and he did what he do, and he said, "I agree with Colin Kaepernick. This is America. This is what that flag is for. To do what you have to do."
Yeah.
But
Kaepernick opted out of his contract because the Niners were going to cut him according to this timeline that I have right here.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
NBC, so just to clarify that, he opted out and nobody re-signed him, nobody picked him up, and then the grievance happened in early 2017.
Right. So he was done. I mean, to wrap up, that was my rant for that. To wrap it up, I think if Goodell looks at this and says, "Okay, Colin, come on back. I'm backtracking. Come on back and try out. You know what? We're gonna put you on a team. The Patriots need you. Go on the Patriots. So then we'll have Bobby Kraft sign you." Yeah, I know. That's a huge example, a very, very far-fetched example.
Although not too far off because
it's tough,
respectfully, they do have a quarterback issue. I'm not, I mean, they have two. They always say in the NFL, if you get 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. And to be honest, between Hoyer and Stidham, you don't know who the starter is yet.
Right.
Could toss Colin Kaepernick in there just to give him a look-see, but
If Homeboy can come back and he can play and throw the shut of the ball and he can run and he can do what he used to do and actually perform good, give us a championship, I have zero problem. He's gonna kneel anyways. It's not gonna offend me. I'm not affected by it. My father wasn't affected. Well, he wasn't alive when he was doing this. He wouldn't be affected by it. People are gonna take it. The extremists are gonna take it a different way. Give him a tryout. Give him a serious, not this high school bullshit tryout that he's doing for himself. Give him an actual tryout with the team and say, here's what we're gonna do here. Either you do it, do the criteria it takes to get on this team to make it. If you don't make it, sorry, next year is next year, and keep trying out. But don't.
Well, Rich, I want to get your opinion on this too. What are your thoughts on what Goodell said?
Well, I agree with Matt. He had to say something. Also, I agree with Matt that he's smarter than this. So you know that this statement is just window dressing. It's just bullshit. All of this now, this has been going on forever. This is not the first guy that this happened to. We can go back 6 years to a 12-year-old named Tamir Rice, who got shot point blank by a cop who pulled up within feet of the 12-year-old, dove over his hood like the goddamn Dukes of Hazzard, and shot the kid.
Right.
But, and I'm not disrespecting George Floyd, and, maybe enough was finally enough, but it's a hard thing, man. I mean, I'm a pretty conservative person, but I'm also fairly open-minded. It's a hard thing for me because my initial reaction when he kneeled was I was upset, and not because of his message. I completely agreed with his message. My feelings centered more around like that it was just not the time to do it. Like, I don't go to work and the first thing I do is look for a way to get everyone to pay attention to me and listen to my political ideas. Or I don't show up for work and protest. And I know sports are a bit of a different animal, and over the history of each of the leagues, there have been significant moments that have spoke to social change and social justice. I mean, Tommy Smith in the '68 Olympics, black gloved fist on the podium, gold medal.
Yep.
I mean, that was a pretty big deal. You had James Brown who spoke out, and you had, but now you have Kaepernick. So I guess, my feelings evolved. At first, I was annoyed because I'm a big history guy and I venerate the military. And I just feel like in the country, and I feel like the national anthem, it should be a moment, and even at school, the Pledge of Allegiance is a moment where it doesn't kill you to stand up and just honor your country. It's funny that his act of protest against the flag, I mean, at the time of the flag, and he says it has nothing to do with the flag, then why do you have to do it during the national anthem?
Right. Timing.
You know what I mean? Like, because
to
you're
get
going to
that
make people who take
awareness
it very seriously upset. Well, and I get that part. But you know what the problem is you need people on your side. You need people to listen to what you have to say. And when you do it in a moment that many people hold kind of sacred, as silly as that sounds for a sporting event, you're going to piss them off. And instantly you have 50% of the people who watch that sport automatically don't want to listen to you because you're pissing them off about what you're doing. So you could be talking about giving away free unicorns and rubbing tugs from Orchids of Asia all day long.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft special, 2 hands. But instantly no one's going to listen to you because you're basically shitting in someone's dinner plate. Like they take that. I get up. George, you know me. We stand up at the friggin' Brick House when they sing the national anthem during the Bruins games.
George is off.
Oh,
well, there we go. Now I've got you. I was going to say that's
really quiet.
I mean, you know what I mean?
First George went Walt Disney prior to the show, then all of a sudden he just went Helen Keller on.
when Michael J. Fox.
So listen, I was going to say I do the same thing. I know Rich mentioned that we stand during the national anthem. I don't care. I have people. I could be anywhere. I stand in my house. If the national anthem's played for any sporting event that I am watching,
right,
at home, at a friend's house, at a bar, at a restaurant, if I'm at the game especially, I stand up, take my hat off. If it's the Canadian national anthem or American national anthem, I don't care. I'll take my hat off and I stand at attention and wait for the anthems to be finished. And now, granted, if it's like a replay, like I've seen games that have been on TV lately, and they've had, like for the Bruins, they've had Rene Rancourt. Obviously we all love him and his adaptation of the, of the national anthem. If I'm in the middle of doing something, I don't have to listen to it. But if I'm going to, if it's a big game or if I'm with friends or whatever, you're damn right, I will put my beer down. And I've stood there and people will look like, who is this motherfucker? And I don't care. I don't care because I personally feel that that's what the anthem means to me, right? That's what this country means to me, right? Is you stand and you give respect to the men and women who have given their lives and continue to give their lives for this country. It's kind of like a combination of Memorial Day and Veterans Day, right? In the form of a song for 2.5, 3 minutes, right? That's kind of what it embodies to me. I'm like Rich, and I'm sure, you guys, I wasn't happy with what Kaepernick was doing. I got the message. I understood that, Black Lives Matter and what's going on in this world is a lot bigger than the flag. I was on the same thing. It shouldn't be done during the national anthem. You want to wear a shirt, like you see, soccer players have shirts underneath their shirt that says, like their kid's name or whatever. You want to have a shirt that says Black Lives Matter underneath and you get a flag, fine, whatever. I didn't want that to be a part of it. And I thought that was a bad way to get his message across because technically I love the message, but I just thought it was a bad way. However, I will also agree that I was wrong in me thinking that the timing of the message was wrong. And here's why. Guess what we're doing right now? We're talking about it.
Right, of course.
Not only are we talking about it, but we're talking about it 4 years after he's been out of the league.
Right.
Now, granted.
Well, they keep bringing him up.
Well, granted,
yeah.
The reason we're talking about it is because what's really going on in this country, especially after the murder of George Floyd. So that's really why we're talking about it, is the whole Black Lives Matter movement and all of that. But to be honest with you, I applaud Kaepernick and I give him a lot more respect now than I did before for what he did in standing up. And I know that they had that fake ass in like 2019 last year, that fake ass tryout where there was stipulations, like they sent him a thing saying you got 2 hours to respond or you're not going to get a tryout at all. So he had to, and he played the charade, and through the whole process of the negotiations, one of the things in there, and like it was a pretty lengthy like contract, so to speak, and it said you can't sue for like defamation from the league or any of the teams, or if you don't get hired, you can't sue because discrimination. Like they had all these little like lawyer bullshit in there, just complete lawyer bullshit to fuck Kaepernick on his tryout to say, well, we gave him a tryout because if he said, no, I'm not going to take the tryout, they're going to say, well, apparently you don't want to be in the league. You just want to be an advocate for, Black Lives Matter and this and that. And you really don't want to be an NFL quarterback because if you did, you'd be there. And that's why he's
thought about that.
Hold that just 1 quick second. And that's why he switched it. And a lot of people like, oh, look at this guy again, trying to dictate to the league how he's going to do things. No, he switched it because the thing that Goodell originally sent to him was with such bullshit, that literally Michael J. Fox turned to Biff and goes, dude, even I wouldn't have hit you with that. Like, for real.
Easy, butthead.
Like, that's what I mean. Exactly. It was that terrible that it just stunk all over. And I think that's what sucks. I mean, whether or not this guy can play, can't play, that's to be determined. And at 32, I've heard he's in great shape. I heard he's like Mike Tyson-like shape, like just ripped and shredded.
He does it.
Which is great.
He does it.
But can he actually play? And can he find a team? Now, granted, a lot of teams are going with that style system quarterback that he is. But can he find a team that has a system in place like that can bring him on board, that has the infrastructure from a team, from a standpoint, from the top down? Like, I'll use the Patriots as an example. Kraft, Belichick, all those guys in the front office, and unfortunately not Tom Brady anymore as a leader, but a leader is to hold the internal part of the scrutiny that's going to come from any of the media that he signs with. Right. So I'm curious on that. But Rich, you had something on his tryout and all that.
Two quick things. First of all, the thing you said about his contract. If he was a 20-year-old kid out of college, didn't get drafted and really wanted to play football, he would have showed up there. They threw that contract at him because they knew he was going to roll in with his entourage, like 15 deep and what's what, and I'm doing it this way. Dude, you are seeking a job with the NFL. You kind of have to jump through their hoops.
Yeah, no, but not the hoops
I
that they
can't
gave
go to
him. That was,
Tavern in the Square and be
Yeah.
like, I want to work for you, but you're going to have to do these things for me. When did that happen? When did it switch around where employers have to go out of their way to do things for employees, man? Either you want to
yeah,
work
but you
for
can't.
them or
Yeah, but you can't set up a guy to fail, and that's what they were doing. They were
they
saying
set
that.
him up to fail because they were calling him out on his bullshit. They
Yeah,
knew
but he was calling them out on being
racist.
racist.
And I'm not going to go to that field, and I want to go to this field, and I want my cameras to record that. Dude, just get in there and throw the fucking football, run back and forth, jump up and down, see how high you can, and then some team might want you to play. The reason he's not in the NFL is because he brings all that other bullshit. And that was the last point I wanted to make was, how does he see himself? Is he still a football player, or is he now an activist? Because if he's now an activist, then why is he trying to play football? Like,
It all
he's
depends
it's
on
funny
what he's
'cause-
really
'cause
passionate about.
Because people bring up his past too, and this is just, I'm not even a personal dig of the guy. He may never see this show. He may never even know who I am, but you never know. He was also adopted by a white family in the suburbs that he was raised. I guess we can say the word privileged. He had everything. He wasn't a poor black kid in the Brooklyn projects struggling. Not saying it makes him any different or what's going on now, but I think that we can all agree. I'll keep in mind too. I'm sorry. I just backtracked. I lost track of my apologize. He wasn't even playing when he was doing this. He was on a team, but he wasn't a starter. He wasn't playing. So people, like myself included, took that as, I get what you want to do. I get you want to speak out. No one else is doing it. There has to be one person has to do it. It has to start somewhere. He's speaking out. But you're not, if it was Tom Brady, the world would collide. And everyone would listen and go, he's at a point. Okay. But where Kaepernick wasn't even starting. He was riding the bench. He wasn't playing. That was more of, it's like an insurance with a team. Would he, I love conflict. I love people butting heads. That makes the world better. It makes things better. Would he be great in the Patriots? I think Colin Kaepernick would fucking kill with our system. Would kill on the Patriots.
No, he wouldn't.
Does Kraft want that to happen? Does Belichick want that to happen?
First of all, he would
Absolutely
not kill in the system.
Like,
This system isn't designed for a quarterback that's mobile.
They would, but they.
This
if
system
they
is a
brought
5
him
and
on,
7. No, there's a.
If they brought him on, they would design it around. him.
No, they wouldn't. No, they
Yeah, I
fucking
think
wouldn't
too
because they
much.
don't have
Too
anybody
much.
there to do it. It's too much. Belichick's
that's-
never had a
holy
quarterback like
shit.
this that he could have to run, and there's a reason. It's not his system. His system is a 5 or 7 step back drop, or take it from the shotgun, run option plays, run inside plays in with your tight end on the seam routes, or your slot receiver. He does not want. Yeah,
but George, that was a Tom Brady system.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, but Tom. Yeah, but what did Tom Brady do? Tom Brady spent 20 years in here and won you 6 titles and took you all the way. I think the system works. I don't think I'm going to take and go, you know what? Fuck me. I'm going to take Kaepernick and go with a running quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go 2 and what? 16? 2
I
and
think
whatever
they should. I'm not saying Kaepernick.
Oh,
but
you're
I
out of your
think
fucking
they should.
mind.
There's
You
no
are
way.
out of your tits, bro.
This
Put the bee in your bonnet, son.
This Tom Brady, holy shit! Guess what? He's in Tampa. They have
Go stid him. At least he's a
have?
better quarterback in the system that's set up now instead of trying to change all the way it's set up with the language on it.
Perform either. He can't perform either.
You've never seen him perform.
We did. He came in for 2 throws. He threw a pick 6 on his second throw.
To two
Oh, my
guys that are
God.
perennial all-stars that are from the LSU defense, which is basically like having an NFL team. Holy shit.
Over.
Oh, my God.
Start over.
Put fucking Hoyer in there.
In September.
Jesus.
Hey, I had a thought. Listen, if they were to sign Kaepernick, I would be really angry, and not for any of the reasons we were talking about. Because what kind of quarterback is he? Would you say that his game is similar to Lamar Jackson's? Well, we couldn't draft him because we don't play football like that. If they sign this motherfucker, I'm done with the Patriots.
Let me just be
had
clear.
Lamar Jackson, same kind of player, a lot better, but we didn't want him because we don't play
he's
that
in
way.
the
There's no
pocket
reason
there.
to sign
He's
this.
pretty good there.
You can see. Let me be clear. I don't want the. I'm going to be real clear.
Fucking
I
man.
don't want the Patriots to sign Kaepernick. I'm going to be clear. I was a example.
It's
I'm just
being
saying,
talked about.
If
Yeah.
it is, but if that were
Idiot.
the
If they
case,
sign him, I'm going to be out there with a sign saying, why wasn't Lamar Jackson good enough for you bitches?
you're going to
Yeah.
run all that in a sign?
Yeah. Yeah. Small
I don't know if
font.
you'd hold a
Small
sign.
font.
No, I just think, like I said, I've never been a fan, and this is the funny thing about society now. That was a good rant, by the way, George. That was nice. That was a good back and forth. I won that battle, though. I think if there was a,
Could you please?
You need a buzzer.
Won that
yeah,
battle.
where's mine? I had it.
Dude, that was
They,
a flawless victory on my part.
I don't know. I sub-zeroed your ass. Someone like Kaepernick, I'm like, he's one of the people that look at the future and go, he did so well. He was so nice. He did what he wanted for injustice. He sucked as a quarterback. He had a few good seasons. I thought he faded out. He blew it. He sucked. He wasn't good. He was not good at what he did.
He had one really great season at 12-4 in 2013, and then the following year went 8-8. He threw 21 touchdown passes to 2013, 19 in 2014. His last season, 2016, he went 1-10 with 16 TDs, completion percentage of 59. So, I mean, I think he's, if you take the knee thing out of it, you take that kneeling down, he's got a job come the fall. And that's the issue that I have with this is because you're kicking guys out of the league, suspending them for drugs, and there's policies and procedures. There was nothing. There was no policy and procedure for this. This guy deserved to play. Look at Jameis Winston right now. He's going to be a backup quarterback, hands down. Do I think
maybe
he thinks he thinks he's better than a lot of the starters? Which, you know what? Here's your chance to prove it. You're going to sit on the bench, but you're going to have to develop, and that's what I think Kaepernick, was going to go with. I think that's. But since he did that, no.
He wanted like $75 million from the XFL.
Oh yeah, that was just him saying, I'm not fucking playing for the XFL. I'm an NFL quarterback. I'm not playing for the XFL. But Rich brings up a great point. Because what are you passionate about?
Happy Kaepernick, what team he plays for? The answer is fucking none. So he's not an NFL quarterback.
Exactly.
He needed to find a way to get back in. Right. Daryl Strawberry.
But that's the thing. That's the thing where I was going. Hold on, Rich. Hold on.
Where's that fucking buzzer? That goddamn buzzer.
I just said Rich brought up a great point. What are you really passionate about, basically? Being an activist or being an NFL quarterback? You took the risk. You knew you were going to get – I mean, I'm sure he got threats up the ass at a game, at practice, going out to dinner with his girlfriend or whatever. He knew the risk that he was going to take. That's why he did it, why he did it on the spotlight. He could have gone on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and did a pitch and did something. He could have done that. But you know what? That would have reached 3 million people.
Yeah.
What he did reached
20 million, 50 million, 100 million. Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
A billion
It's
people.
great marketing.
And we're still talking about it today. Right. Now it's bringing it back in the limelight because of the unfortunate incident that happened with George Floyd.
Right.
Do I still think that he probably could play in the NFL? Maybe. After 4 years, yeah, he's in great shape. But so is Tom Brady, and he's 43. He's going to be 43.
And just because you're in shape doesn't mean you're in A, football shape, and B, you can still play the game. I mean, yes, you can make the throws. Yes, you can run. Yes, you can do the normal things as a quarterback. But what happens when, I see, on there, Clark, number 55, is barreling at your ass in 2.6 seconds, ready to take your head off? Do you have enough wherewithal to process that the safety's going high and it's going to bank right? You got to look off the other safety to get the guy on the slot to run in the X pattern, and the Y guy's going to take the cornerback on the other side and you got to process that in that amount of time to know before Clark hits you and sends you into next week. Good luck.
That's going to take time. He's not going to be a starter right away.
That's Bernie Mac and Mr. 3000. Does he still have it? Can he still play? You drop the bottle. Can he catch for hits the ground?
Yeah. Is he in that mental game shape?
Right. Like I said, I
think it'll take time.
I want any motherfucker that says I was so pissed off. Nobody. I shouldn't say that. Let me backtrack that. I was pissed off. I think we all agree at the timing of what he did this. at the timing of that sacred 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, that timing of just pick another time.
Well, because I
pick
think
another-
it's a lot of it is the visceral reaction, especially from people
Right.
our age and older, of what the flag means. I mean, again, we all we've said we all remember going to school and the first thing you do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. It's hey, A through Z, the the kids are in class and pledge allegiance, and that was a school
Right.
thing. It was over the PA. It was we now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Like it was like an everyday thing.
But
So I
because
get
somebody
that.
got pissed off and offended, they
But no,
stopped.
right, but yeah, but,
Right,
but I don't care about that. But that was the thing, is that's what we grew up with. So
Right.
systematically and
We're
just
programmed like that.
ingrained and programmed, that's what it is. And that's
Recent
what it,
picture of Kaepernick.
yeah.
We
That's
grew
in the
up
NFL
Maybe
now.
he's not in the best
Yeah.
shape, boys.
But
We
that's
grew
for
up in
me
the
is
Reagan era,
that's
dude.
that's what we grew up
something
in, right? That's what we did. So our reaction to it is going to be different than somebody his age when he did it, or even younger, because
Right.
they don't see it because they never grew up with that type of heightened sense of awareness of being proud of who you are and where you came from. And granted, not these things like the Black Lives Matter movement. None of these things were really around.
Right.
The same shit was still happening. Like
Of course.
don't put your the wool over your eyes and say, "Whoa, this didn't happen until like 3 or 4 years ago." This shit was happening in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s,
Before
the
that.
aughts,
The
I mean,
40s, Jack
yeah. No, I
Rogers,
mean,
And nobody
right, I mean,
had one of these. Nobody had a cell phone.
right, that's the thing.
yeah,
That's the thing.
that
Is
was my
it's now being
So it was
recorded.
always going on.
Right.
Yep.
And it's now being recorded. And that's why the people I think stood behind him because of that. Is
right.
it wasn't that, and I heard somebody, I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm gonna paraphrase this. They said it's not about the lives of the men and women who have lost or are currently serving. It has to do with the fact that in this country you have the right to express yourself respectfully in any way possible. And in a silent approach to a systematic problem is to kneel
Right.
in the flag and ask for the country to help forgive itself, then how is that considered wrong? And again, I butchered
Right,
it, but it
right.
was something, and then I was like, wow. And that is kind of very mind opening, because you're right. I believe it. We all believe that the flag of the United States is one of the greatest things that we could ever see as a symbol for our country. Like the flag, a bald eagle, like the Liberty Bell. Like there's certain things that are just ring America, right?
Somebody told me.
B-52s.
Yeah, but the thing is, the kneeling, that's what really got a lot of people pissed. And I think now, if you sit back and say, man, I was pissed at the time, I have the right to be pissed because I
Right.
didn't understand it fully. But with knowledge comes understanding, and the understanding becomes acceptance. And now I feel bad for being upset, even though may have been conversations with friends that I've had, but I express my negativity towards that when I should have tried to learn more and understand that the reason behind it was worth more than the flag. It's kind of like that old line, the name of the front of the jersey is worth a hell of a lot more than the back. And that's kind of what he was saying is that
Herb
deal
Brooks.
was to say, hey, we need this fixed. And sadly, nobody listened. And
Somebody told
to the point where George Floyd and countless of others
Right.
have been killed. But it took up until George Floyd, and still more now, to
Right.
get us to actually realize Cat may have sucked as a football player, but man, he had the right idea, and man, we should have listened.
Somebody told me when I brought this up, and it's one of those hot topics that people are gonna agree or disagree. We're trying to find middle ground. For me personally, like we said, our generation, I was raised. My dad is a decorated war hero. His medals hangs on the wall upstairs. To me, I'm not wired that way. I have to. I might not stand every time, but this thing the bill comes off. There's a respect of, maybe there's a veteran sitting next to you that you don't know. Maybe there's a guy there's always something. But somebody made a good point to me one day when I was talking about this, and this didn't change my mind, but it put in perspective. You got a guy who's doing a quiet, peaceful protest, kneeling, not bothering anybody. People are bothered because of the attention he's getting, but he's not bothering anybody. He's not speaking. He's not screaming. He's not doing the fist. He said, what would you want more? What would hurt you more, offend you more? Somebody doing a quiet, peaceful protest during a time that was people died for him to do that? Or have him burn the flag in the middle of the field?
Yeah.
Or have him desecrate the flag, step on the flag. But either way, it to me is, again, I'm wired differently. I think it's disrespectful in both ways, but it puts it in perspective. He could be burning the flag on the side and go, it's my fucking free speech, do whatever I want. Click, click, and burn it.
Right.
Or I'm going to stand in the back here, let those guys do what they have to do. I respect what they're doing. They should respect what I'm doing. We'll stand up at 2.5 minutes, play the game, and go on.
Rich, you look like you were about to say something, so I'm going to let you chime in there.
Well, a couple quick points. First of all, yeah, he had a protest, but what was the answer? Was it just to kneel down? Like what came after that? Like now we're seeing all these different ideas, some crazy, some sensible.
Now, if you kneel, it's okay.
It's
going to be okay.
Point.
Yeah.
Like, was kneeling going to make all of this magically go away? Like, I'm thinking, like, okay, you protest. When you protest, you get attention. Then after you get the attention, you deliver your message. And his message was
what the people are protesting and rioting now.
Oppressed
injustice. That's what the whole point is. Yeah.
But nothing changed. Yeah.
Like,
nothing's going to change.
Like, there was no further action. Like, there was no, like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. It was just, I'm kneeling down. And that, like I said before, like, my mindset has changed. At first, I was annoyed. I didn't like it. I thought it was ill-timed, even though I completely agreed with the message. And now it's like, you know what? Maybe that was the only way to light a fire under us. And unfortunately, George Floyd had to come along and be sacrificed on the altar of this cause to get us to the point where things are I mean, I'm not talking like defund the police. I kind of am rooting for that because I want to see it go tits up. But like at least people now are talking about, not so much
another topic,
weapons,
another topic,
but more for training on how to de-escalate, or more for or you know what? My answer back then was just this: why do the good cops protect the bad ones? If I'm a bad worker, if I'm making George's work suffer because I suck at my job, or if I work with Matt and I don't pull my weight, guess who's going to get fired? This guy.
Matt.
So how come
probably.
Matt
O'Brien, you're fired.
We need to hold
has happened before.
Rogue cops accountable more, because the cops would go and the cops would investigate themselves, and the cops would say to the other cops, "Hey, you didn't do anything wrong here. Here's some administrative pay. Go have a vacation." Like, that's not the way it should work.
No.
Well, that's why I think his whole thing was to try to change that, but unfortunately, this is brought to a lot more light. I think
took
to bring
us 4
him
years
back,
to figure shit out.
And I think to bring him and make him the poster child of what's wrong is wrong. I think to say Kaepernick was the one, he's the guy. He wasn't the guy. He was high. He was the guy that had a platform that used it. He wasn't the guy. So I think he should be let back in the league. If he passes a tryout and does it as if Tom Brady was trying out tomorrow.
Hey, Michael Vick played football after he went to prison. I don't give a shit if he gets a job or not.
Here's something I want to touch back on.
Does he want to play sports, or does he want to be an activist? That's my only question about him.
Right.
Well, I want to touch back on something Rich said. You say, he's, supposed to not dictate to the NFL what they're going to do. If the NFL actually gave him a fair shake on a tryout, gave him more than a 2 hours notice of where they were going to hold it, made sure that everybody was there, all the teams, had everything all set up, made sure that there were no stipulations of you can't sue us, you can't do that. And he did the tryout legit, just showed up, just threw the ball, just ran, just lifted the weights, just did the jump, just did the 40, whatever it was that they wanted to put him through from A to Z. And he did a tryout legit, and he just didn't make it, then fine. The problem is during that tryout in 2019, the NFL knew he still could play, which he may still can play now. Again, we've sort of discussed that there are some teams that have this style quarterback that you can have a guy like Kaepernick as a backup.
Carolina Panthers.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say Panthers are looking for one.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, Panthers.
Team,
you can even say Baltimore
Patriots
could have a backup if they need them, or you could get somebody as a backup that could play. I mean, hell, you don't necessarily want it, but Kansas City. I mean, Mahomes is a similar. So you've got guys in
Maybe
systems
Seattle.
in place.
The
Yep.
only
that-
way you just sign him to this
Right. But if
exhibition games.
But that's the thing is they've got to give him a fair shot. And I thought what they did to him a year or so ago was such bullshit that, again, what he stood for, I understood. I understand better now. I can appreciate where he's coming from. If he was on my team, I would have no problem. I would have no problem with the entire team, which I've heard a lot of little rumors is a lot of teams, the whole team, staff, coaches, whatnot, are going to be kneeling. So I'm kind of interested in that. And I know some of the
But
teams
I don't
have
want
done
people to get
things.
mad at me
No.
for
If you
remaining
For
in the
not
stand.
kneeling.
Right. I'm
For
gonna.
not
I
kneeling.
personally
That
am
that
going
was
to
my
stand.
that's
Yeah,
my
I
ending
personally am
point.
going to stand and
Yeah.
continue to stand because although I do believe Black Lives Matter, and I understand that that is something that really needs to get fixed in this country and quickly, I also believe my right personally as an American is my right to protest or not protest. And I decide that I'm going to stand and honor the flag as it stands for me. If any of you guys, if we were all watching a game, together and you guys wanted to kneel, I wouldn't say anything to you. I wouldn't even think twice about it because
would.
to me, that's your decision to do that. You know what I mean? I respect that.
Right.
And I think that that's something that hopefully that's what this ends up being is that's the case. But I mean, you hear like teams like, what was it? Bill Belichick brought in, guys from the ACLU. The NAACP.
No, it was the ACLU.
It was the ACLU, okay,
Mhm.
to talk about what's going on, like as a team conversation. You've obviously seen what Drew Brees has done and his comments, and then I don't want to say backtracking because I don't think he backtracked. I think he got enlightened, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I think that that's something that that's going to happen across the league. So I am kind of intrigued by this, and I'd like to see what happens going forward. But let's
Maybe we can put this on a vote on Facebook to the fan zone. Let's
Yeah.
maybe get their opinion and say, hey, what do you think? Should
Yeah.
he simple? Should he
Should
play? Yes or no?
Yeah, so we can do that. So we'll put
Yeah,
that out as
yeah.
well. So look for that as well on our Facebook page. We will put that out as soon as possible. So I'll give you guys a quick thing. We'll make it real quick. We'll wrap it up. I guess that would be the question I think we should ask. Mike, do you think if he got a fair tryout and he, I don't say passed the physical, passed the quality assessment test, for lack of a better way of putting it, do you think he should be signed?
If he was coming in as okay, I said my piece, I'm gonna still do it, but I want to play football.
No. I
want
don't
to
care.
play. Yes.
Pull the bullshit aside. I don't care about it.
Right.
I'm talking. You got an athlete coming in for a tryout. He goes through all the nuts and bolts of it, and at the end, he is qualified or passes the basic standard minimum to play that position. If you're a team, politics, all that aside, because that's a conversation you have to have with him. I'm talking just strictly as an athlete, as a quarterback. Do you sign him? Yes or no? Because you obviously know the rest of the bullshit comes with it. So you have to be willing to deal with it and understand and all that. And I say bullshit respectfully, not minimizing what he's standing for. But the other stuff comes with it. But I'm talking if he passes the physical and if he is a good quarterback, do you sign him? Yes or no?
No.
No. Why?
It's like you said, it's the other bullshit.
So you don't sign him because of the other stuff?
Because I don't think he has the inkling to play football anymore. I think he wants the team to be on a platform. It's 50-50. It's tough.
But again, forget that part of it. If he can play the sport,
you can't forget it.
You don't care. Even if he can play the sport, you're not going to put up with the crap.
No, because I don't think he wants to play. I think Mike Tyson can throw a punch too, but he can still get knocked out.
Okay, Matt, your thoughts. Same question.
I think there's going to be a lot less bullshit and a lot more positivity given what just happened with George Floyd, especially coming. First off, there's not going to be any fans in the stands, so there's not going to be any chance. There's not going to be any ruffle around. There's not going to be any bullshit. Even if there were fans in the stands, I still think the bullshit would be switched around in a positive light. Now, there's still going to be people that don't agree with kneeling. Understand that. You may get a little backlash, but you're not going to get as much backlash as you would last season. You know, if somebody signed him, you may get 50-50 people cheering for him, people booing him. But now what's happened, I think the bullshit went from 100 feet down to 25 feet. Basically, there's less of it.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So,
I think you swayed me back. Yeah, good point.
But
good point.
I'm gonna
right.
I'm gonna give him a fair tryout. Like if I'm Carolina, because there's not really that much fucking great QBs out there. I mean, who's the guy from
there's a lot of factors. Yeah, you're right.
You know,
right.
But yeah, so I'll give him the tryout, but he's got to earn his stripes.
Yeah.
This is a business. And no matter what, he's being an activist. He's a leader in that, or he's going to be a football player, something that he's really passionate about, and something that he kind of just likes to do. So now he's got best of both worlds.
Yeah,
it was worth the 4 years that he took, the backlash that he took. But whoever, I still think the Carolina Panthers like, hey, you know what? Let's give him a tryout. Let's put him in pads. Let's do 7-on-7s, and then you know what? We're going to sign him for the exhibition games. And if he sucks, he has four games to do it. If he sucks, he sucks. Yep. Perfect world. He doesn't have to deal with fans. Not that he even probably cared about that, but just that he hasn't seen 60,000 people every Sunday.
Yeah,
so, I didn't get those same options that Matty just fucking had. What the hell? now I want to retract my statement.
I'm giving him a tryout. I'm giving him a tryout.
He has to earn his keep.
I told you, fair tryout.
But if I'm going to have a sit down with him, be like, Colin, thanks for coming. You're just not what we're looking for. I'm going to put you back on free agency. Just hand in your playbook. You're still a good quarterback. You're just not the right fit for the team. Or congratulations, you made the team.
Yeah, to me, and I'll give you my answer in a minute. Rich, your answer, same question. He gets a fair shake and a tryout. Do you sign him? Yes or no? Whether it's a starter or a backup, I don't care. Do you sign him to your team?
If I was the owner of an NFL team, I don't think I would sign him. I would give him a fair shot because he didn't commit a crime. He certainly deserves a fair shot. It's just, if I'm running a team and my goal is to win, my goal is to win. I'm not inviting distractions and possibly divisive behavior into my locker room. I need my athletes focused on winning, not on who's – can you imagine the eggshells that people in that locker room might have to tiptoe around? Can I be politically correct? I mean, not politically correct. Do I have to be politically correct? Am I going to be on camera all the time? Am I going to get quoted? Are they going to ask me 1,000 questions about him? If I don't like what he does, am I going to get vilified and have my, reputation tarnished because I'm not on board? I mean, also there's a couple other questions like, what is he expecting to get paid? How much does he think he's worth? Like, how dedicated is he to playing football?
Right.
And then secondly, is he going to roll in and expect the team to like give him a giant, locker area with, a media room to hold press conference? Like, it's too much. It's too much at this point. If he was 5 years younger and it hadn't grown to this, kind of snowball here, maybe I'd be more inclined. But at this point, he's 32. What is he really going to do for you? He's not Robert Redford walking out of the cornfield with, goddamn Wonder Boy breaking, lights and shit.
2 years ago,
former quarterback who wasn't that great. He had one good year and then tapered off pretty consistently over the next couple.
Just a reminder, Rich, I don't know, but I mean, you're wearing a jersey there that a guy 2 years ago at age 41 won that. I'm just saying. 32, a 41-year-old won. I'm just saying.
Tom Brady didn't take a 4-year break from playing football.
Join Tampa with me, George. Join the dark side.
I'm already on the bro. I was on the dark side. Bro, I was on the dark side before you even knew there was a dark side.
Dude, that's like saying if Sam Bowie didn't suck, he'd be Michael Jordan.
No, Sam Bowie sucked to begin with. That was
right, but you can't compare Colin Kaepernick to Tom Brady.
No, I know.
Do that fat bastard Ben Roethlisberger if you want to, but
I just think I would. So Rich, I just a liability for it, the whole thing.
So I'm going to quickly
just
give
too
you
much.
my answer, which is as long as he passes all the marks as far as a quarterback goes, and he fits our system, like we said, Seattle, Carolina, Kansas City, Baltimore, any team. Hell, I would even take Buffalo. I mean, quarterback's semi more mobile, with a big arms. You can kind of, I don't say he'd fit perfectly in the system, but you can, I don't say wedge him nicely in there. So if there was a team that wanted a backup or needed a quarterback that fits in that system, then yes. Again, as long as from a standpoint of money, you can negotiate money, and you have that conversation that he's serious about playing football. If he just wants to get the money and the notoriety to have the platform of the NFL and the shield, the logo, to put his information out, dude, you got social media. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just use Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, my face, InstaFace, your face, whatever. I
hear
don't care.
TikTok is very popular.
Whatever,
the
the
younger
TikTok, you don't
generation.
stop. I don't know, talk tick, whatever it is.
What the fuck
Point
is
is, and my point is this:
TikTok, sir.
if he is going to be good, if he's good,
Get the hell out of here.
then great. If he can't cut it, if he can't make the throws, if I got a receiver going and he can't hit him 25 yards down in stride, or a guy in an in cut, or he can't hit him, then no. But if he's got the skills and I have a need, I have no problem bringing him back in the league, and bringing him back to my team. Because to be honest, one thing all of you have forgotten and one thing all of you have missed, I don't want to say indirectly, I would say directly, he's a leader. And I don't know if you want to classify him and put him in the leader of like a Tom Brady or
Nope.
a David Ortiz or
Nope.
that type of leader that you're like, wow. But here's a man
He did something.
who's gotten millions of people through the course of the 4 years and unfortunately through tragedy to still talk about him and what he stood for. And now has people like us changing our minds on what he originally said and how we took it to how we take it now. And it's only by his protest and his words. And that to me is very interesting and symbolic that I think you guys have all forgotten that. Here's a guy who really could lead a team, and I would feel comfortable about it based on, the way he's at least handled himself through some of this. He could have gone out and gone on profanity-laden tirades. He could have gone out and kicked every white guy's ass from here to Goodell's house in New York. He could have gone on anything like that.
Oh, yes.
And he didn't. He did hold himself with certain dignity and certain respect.
Could have
And
burned the flag.
continued to stay the course on what his message was. And unfortunately, as a country, for lack of a better way of putting it, we kind of failed him because we weren't listening. And that's caused some tragedy and other things to happen and people's lives to be lost that we'll never get back. And if we listened to him as a leader back then, maybe we'd be in a different spot than we are, not just as an NFL, but as a country. And I think that's something that's really important to take from this. So just food for thought for you boys.
Can we get that
Think
"the
about it.
more you know" logo flying behind you now?
Exactly. But don't just take my word for it. But that should be it. I think that's how we should end it on a nice positive rainbows.
Yeah,
and puppy dogs
it's a
note.
topic that's gonna go on
Yeah.
for a long time.
It
I'm
is.
glad we dabbed on it, boys.
It is. Stay tuned again. We're going to put it out again on our Facebook, as you can see, The Armchair Sports Guys. Also on Instagram, The Armchair Sports Guys. Twitter, Armchair_Guys. We're on Google Play. We're on Apple, iTunes. What do they call it? Is it Apple Podcasts now? They change it. Whatever they are. On the Apple thing. We're also on
Please go
Spotify.
TikTok.
We're also on YouTube. We don't do TikTok. I don't know what the hell
I don't even know what
TikTok
that
is.
is.
I don't even care. But again, if there's any questions that you want us to debate, any topics you think we could hit up and could make very interesting, shoot us an email at thearmchairsportsguys@gmail.com and let us know. Any parting shots before we leave, boys? Are we good?
It ain't complicated. Don't be shitty to each other.
Yeah, that's how we're leaving it. On behalf of Mike, Matt, Arthur Digby Sellers, my friend, I am GJ, a.k.a. Arthur Digby is Rich Mays. We're out of here saying goodnight. Thank you again. We appreciate you. Be good to each other. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.